The Middle East has had the least amount of evangelistic and missionary effort and probably the least amount of our prayer focus. They've got the most oppressive regimes, the least amount of freedom, the worst human sufferings index, the worst persecution of the church, and the greatest terrorist threat to the Western world.
But you know why, though? People hear these stories from people like you, and they go, well, you got to be nuts to go there. Let's face it, it's dangerous to go there, right?
You're right. That's true. However, can I remind you that there's a bunch of people from the Muslim Middle East here in Minnesota, probably at the university, with an easy access of people, and people could invite them in their homes and interact. You could evangelize people from the Middle East without leaving Minnesota.
All right, but to go over there, sir, if you didn't make the commitment before you went 20 years ago, you certainly have had to make it when you even return after your 3 days with us. You are going to go back. You are prepared to die for your Lord, correct, sir?
Well, if that's what the Lord wants, for me to live is Christ, to die is gain. I believe the safest place in the world is in the sense of God's will. I've had to face death. I got bombed on a Sunday morning service in Sudan while preaching in a church in Sudan, and we had 8 bombs dropped on us all there on Sunday morning, all close by. I was buffeted around. My ears were just so dull I couldn't hear anything afterwards from the explosions. One bomb very close by. On that day I thought I was going to die. There's been a few cases like that. So
you've got a death threat on you, correct, sir?
The government of Sudan has said that I should expect to be bombed whenever I come to Sudan, and if Peter Hammond comes to Sudan, he should expect to be shot on sight. That's on the government of Sudan's website, so presumably they don't like what I've been writing.
Okay, I just want you to know as you listen to this, there actually is a human being. He's actually sitting in the studio. This is not a drama that we're presenting to you. This is Christianity in Africa. Now, in these places where you're going, like, name the countries where you focus, sir.
Zimbabwe, Zambia, Nigeria, Sudan, those are the main areas I'm working at the moment.
All right. And there are basically, I'll ask you the question. How many predominant worldviews are there in those places?
We're dealing with 3 conflicting worldviews in these areas. In fact, all of Africa, it's communism, Islam, or Christianity. Those are the 3 big contesters. And if you're looking for a war in Africa, almost on every occasion, anywhere you're going to find, it's going to be Islam persecuting Christians, or it's communism persecuting Christians. That's the dynamics of most of the wars and conflicts in Africa. It's either communism or Christianity. It's a battle for the soul of the continent.
Yeah, but occasionally, do we not hear, though, of some Christians doing horrible things over there? Or am I hallucinating?
Oh, no, I think you'll hear it, but it'll be selective reporting, because what they'll do is the Christians can get hammered, persecuted, tortured, and maimed for a few decades. No news. The moment the Christians fight back, then suddenly it's a scandal, and you come in with a zoom lens instead of having the wide-angle lens of the context. So, yes, in Nigeria, for example, there have been some cases of Christians fighting back against the Muslims.
All right.
But why?
I want to get to that, but I'm curious. You've made a statement that the media is not very objective in its reporting. Why do you believe that is, sir? Why is it that Islam seems to get a pass and Christianity gets shot at?
I'd like to know that, because I've certainly seen it objectively. In 21 years missionary work in Africa, I've seen, being in some of the hottest spots in Africa, the news media here in the States either doesn't report it or reports it from a very skewed perspective, and I don't feel that the Christians in Africa are getting a good deal. For example, I was in Rwanda documenting the Rwandan Holocaust. 1994, more people were killed with machetes in 6 weeks than have died from atomic weapons in all of history. Something up to 800,000 people, mostly Christians, are killed in Rwanda with machetes in a gun-free zone. It's a country that's been disarmed. The United Nations has come and disarmed them. How does the media in the West report this? The Hutus and the Tutsis are killing one another again. Now you get the impression of 2 tribes at one another's throat, some kind of spontaneous tribal conflict. But that's not what was happening. The government of Rwanda, the Rwandese government, which was predominantly Hutu, the majority tribe, disarmed the people systematically with the UN's help. The United Nations troops helped disarm the country. And then they systematically set about slaughtering them. The radio and TV and all news media was totally in the control of the government of Rwanda, and they organized a systematic genocide. Most of the people were killed in hospitals, schools, and churches. They were done by government agents and by mobs organized by the government. It was a systematic slaughter. How could they report in America that the Hutus and the Tutsis were killing one another again, making the victims and the culprits on an equal plane as though there was no innocent party? That is such an insult and such an offense to the victims and to the memory of the victims of this. It was a systematic planned slaughter by the government of Rwanda, and the media over here didn't want to understand the cause, so they just put it out as tribal.
And this is Rwanda, correct, sir?
That's Rwanda.
All right, don't answer the question now. We're going to return with Peter Hammond. My question is, why? Why? And I can't help but wonder, sir, if this doesn't have something to do with the color of skin and religion. I'd like to pursue that with you. Again, Peter Hammond is in town. He is the founder of Frontline Fellowship. A fool for Christ is what he is, combating terrorism through missions. It will be going on tonight, Monday, October 13th, 7 p.m., Elmwood Evangelical Free Church. It is on Chelmsford Road, northeast in Minneapolis. And, sir, do you have any idea if somebody wants to go? Do they just show up?
Yes, it's free and open, and we're going to be showing lots. I've got hundreds of graphic slides and pictures and illustrations for people to see, because I know people won't believe what I'm saying, so we've got to show the folks what's going on over there.
Yeah, I've got some of the pictures here. They defy description. Peter Hammond will be back in just a few moments. If you would like to talk to Peter, you are more than welcome to 651-681-8255, 651-681-8255. And boy, I was afraid to give out that gospel tract at Taco Bell the other day. We'll be back talking with Peter Hammond on Talk the Walk, AM 980 KKMS, more Spirited Talk Radio.